Hello and welcome here to Talking FCB, and welcome back for just another quick video really before the game actually starts. I've just got a quick question because I was reading earlier on today some of the reports. There's a lot of speculation always surrounding the January transfer window, so many different names being thrown around, and we have already signed, of course, Arda Turan and Alex Vidal last summer, and they're now available to play. They feel like new signings, but Luis Enrique has always stood firm, and he's always said, I would like to add another forward, another attacking player during this window, and it's always been looked at as though we try and look for an older player. In his years of his career, Jonathan Soriano has been linked. Of course, Nolito, 29 years old, he's been linked very, very heavily to Barcelona. He could still yet come. But of course, they're also quite short on money. Right now, we don't actually have a lot to spend, so it's also been looking at the cheaper options than some players, maybe on a loan deal. And one of the players that I actually saw today crop up in sport, it's nothing real concrete, it's not even close to being done. I think it's more just a rumour and a speculation, but it just got me thinking. The name that was linked with Barca was Pedro. Now, Pedro obviously left us in the summer. He spent 11 years at the club throughout the different divisions, got through to the first team, exploded into the first team under Pep Guardiola, did fantastically well, scored in the Champions League final against Manchester United, and he was a very, very consistent player. But he started to get a few injuries. There was, massive names brought to the club, players like Neymar, players like Suarez, and slowly Pedro started getting less and less playing time, when eventually he thought enough is enough. It's time now to move on in my career. Ahead of the European Championships coming up this summer, Pedro wanted first team football, and he went to Chelsea in pursuit of that, and that's not really worked out for him. Chelsea, of course, have had an absolutely shocking season. No player in their team really has stood out. It's been very, very difficult in his first season in Premier League football to really adjust to that and to push himself and show the level that he can produce. I don't think it's fair to say that Pedro has been a real failure. I don't think he's a bad player because of his time there. I just think that he's gone to Chelsea when they're in a real moment of crisis. Everybody's confidence is low. He's playing in a team that aren't really believing in themselves at the moment. And going from that to Barcelona, where he came from, where they were on fire, everybody was firing on all cylinders. There was confidence going around the squad. There was a good feeling. And it must be very, very difficult for him now going there with, let's face it, players who are not quite as good, with a team that is not quite as good in general, and trying to fit in and settle in there and work hard. But if there's one thing Pedro will always do, and that's persevere, he'll try and get through it, he'll try and improve, I'm sure. But I was just wondering, guys, what you guys would think. I mean, I'm not saying it'll happen, I'm not really believing in this story altogether, but what if the chance came around that Pedro could return? On a loan deal it would be, because if Pedro is offloaded during the January transfer window, the only club that he would actually be allowed to join is Barca, because he competed in the Super Cup at the start of the season. Therefore, he cannot play for three clubs in the same season, so he would have to return to the club which he left, which of course is us. So if he did leave Chelsea, it would probably be on a loan deal until the end of the season, maybe just to get him off the wage bill, get some confidence back, get him playing at the level that he was. And I would have thought that he'd be used by us very much like he was during the treble-winning season, coming off the bench for impact. You'll remember that game against Real Sociedad at the Camp Nou. He comes off the bench, scores that incredible overhead kick. He came on in the Champions League final late on, assisted Neymar for the goal for 3-1. So he's always been a player that no matter how much or how little he plays, he does always have an impact. He's an impact player. He'll come on, he's got that pace, he works very hard, he understands our philosophy. He's been at the club a number of years before, so he understands us as a club. And I was just wondering, what would your thoughts be if we were to re-sign Pedro on loan, if that incredible deal could be pulled off? Now, in terms of the actual story, Sport went a bit deeper into it. They said that Chelsea had already started speaking with Barcelona over Pedro, and that he would be himself open to a return, which doesn't really surprise me. I would have thought that he may definitely have some regret about leaving a team that is achieving everything at the time, and still is right now, to a team that is actually now in the bottom half of the Premier League table in Chelsea. So I'm sure he would jump at the chance to go back to the Camp Nou and to go back to the Barcelona lifestyle. But Chelsea have also got to agree that. Now, like I said, Luis Enrique does want a forward. Pedro is that quality. But I just wonder what you guys would think about him coming back. Would you see him as a player who would certainly add to our squad? Like I say, you would be able to settle in very, very quickly, having already known his surroundings. But would you think that he would be the player that we're looking for? Would he add to our squad? Is he the player that he was a few years ago? Probably not. But still, he still gave something last season, didn't he? He still produced something off the bench. And I think instead of using somebody like Munir or Sandro, of course, we're trying to offload Sandro to possibly the Premier League. He's looking at going to Tottenham, but Tottenham are stalling over the figure they're willing to pay at the moment. But it does seem like Sandro will be sold or at least loaned during this transfer window. So who are we going to sign as a forward player? Alex Vidal, of course, could play up there. Arda Turan can play in the front three as well. So do you even think that a forward is necessary in this window? Or is it better to save our money, save on the wages, and then just go out all out for some signings in the summer? Let me know what you think, guys, in the comments down below. Should we, try and grasp that opportunity to bring Pedro back to the club if it did happen, which at the moment looks unlikely, but of course in football things can change very, very quickly. What would your opinion be on it? Is it a good thing or is it not? Let me know down below, guys. Interested to hear your thoughts on that. I'll be back soon later on with the result of the game against Athletic against Barca. Looking forward to that as well. I'll see you very, very, very soon. Vesca, El Barça.